Welcome back to the Dose. My name is Robert, here with Susan, here with BJ. We're discussing all things day one and the Deadpool episode of this program, which is going to be starting soon. We've been talking how there is more to Parkinson's, and please reflect on the earlier shows we've done so far to see where we're at with this. Right now, we're going to take a look at the film Deadpool, and I should say, by take a look, we're going to discuss why it may be a fit specifically for this program. We mentioned the incredible pain that the character Wade Wilson, who before he becomes Deadpool, goes through and has this transformation. It's not just, in classic, think of other transformation type pieces. Spider-Man is bit by a spider. Okay, that kind of hurt, and some things happen, whatever. This is very different than that. Wade Wilson goes through an outward and vicious torture, which BJ, my memory is it goes on for something like 20 minutes or so.
Oh my God, Robert.
Oh yeah, in the movie, but in his timeline.
Correct. Yeah, I mean 20 minutes of screen time.
Yeah,
and yeah.
Yes, it's very torturous and very painful and very visual, and you can see the character being transformed from a everyday person into this. It's almost like molten tissue, and then coming out of that, it's like, okay, now I'm completely changed. Now I'm totally different than who I used to be. Now I really have to hide what I look like. How do I re-engage and stay alive and do something? And then the shame, and then like you said, that it affects the relationship and everything else, and it's almost like he loses everything and has to come from that point.
He literally is, Susan, in the film Reborn. We see him rise from the ashes after he goes through this thing where the idea was, and this is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is to become a mutant. This particular sect of mutants is looking to make more mutants, and in order to do that, they need to torture the body so that the mutations will take place, and you will therefore receive the power of the mutation. Right? Daredevil is blind but has echo sonic location. Professor X doesn't have mobility, but he has sonic ability, right? Mental abilities that are beyond, because his physical is gone. The taking, some of this is covered in my conversation with Jan Gru, the professor who did that wonderful article, right? Able Nationalists Assemble. So this is what goes on here. Now, for you guys, somebody living with Parkinson's, what is it possibly, and this is really throwing us out there, what do you get for the torture, in this sense, that Parkinson's puts you through? What do you receive? Is there anything you can point to, BJ?
So just to personalize this story, going through all these symptoms and not knowing what's going on, and then 13 months into it, getting the diagnosis of Parkinson's, this whole time my body is getting slower and shutting down. I'm going from working 12 hours a day to walking with a cane, and you don't know what the heck is going on, but all these changes are going on in the body. And then your whole former world is taken away, and now you're reborn into this situation. And it would be so easily to just shut down and say, okay, it's over. I have this disease, and I'll just wait for the end. But as anyone with any sort of trauma that they've come out of, they recognize that, in order to move on, you're taking all this baggage with you and you're dealing with it as you go, but you can't just quit. You have to re-engage and become a new person in a new situation. And this movie shows what happens when, to the extreme. And so I think it can be applied.
And I want to do something before I pass this to Susan, is to say, you say you can't quit. People do. You could quit. And unfortunately, we see this in the Parkinson's world where people quit. and they have a much worse experience with the illness. And there may not be an answer, but there is influence within that. So this gets back to the heart, which is what to live for, and why perhaps this is a love story. Wade Wilson needs to find a way to be able to tell Vanessa he is still alive, because as far as she knows, he's just gone and probably died through some mysterious means. Susan, what keeps you fighting? What keeps you going in the dark times? What is your hold?
I actually have moments of joy all the time. And so I give them the credit they're due. It's I don't know if it's the way I was raised or my perspective or the way I've lived
But if
as
you
if
only had the past, if you only had those things, would that be enough? If you only had the way you were raised?
no, because it's still going on. So I have,
That's it.
yeah,
It's the current day manifestation of that echo, maybe in the way you were raised, right? The things that help you believe the parts of you want to believe life is about, which things like joy,
yeah,
connection. And
yeah.
feel free to stop me if I'm misrepresenting you at any point.
No, yeah, yeah. And I have the living evidence of my 100-year-old mother who still is completely delightful, you know? So that's the future. It gives me hope, you know? If I do have her genes and I have this disease as well. You guys are saying some things that make this movie seem like maybe a good fit. Um, for at a certain level, and I'm afraid I really, when you're talking about 15 or 20 minutes of torture, I mean, the immediate question was, can I like go like this?
So let's hold off right there. I'm going to bring that into the next episode because I think you bring up a great question, Susan. Can I skip part of the journey and
Yeah,
understand you? So let's go ahead and
that's a good
address
way
it
to put
next
it.
time.
Yeah.
Okay.